Well, let's just start off talking about this. It's always referred to as an epidemic. I mean, what's the current status of the situation? Is it a dire situation in our state?
You know, we have a terrible situation in Ohio and across the country in regard to heroin and opiates. There's no let up. We're seeing people die every single day in Ohio. It's in every county. It's in every police jurisdiction. And it seems to be no let up to it. I think that meetings like we're having tonight, though, that Congressman Latta is having here, are really, really good, because this problem is only going to be dealt with at the local level. It is not going to be dealt with in Washington. It's not going to be dealt with, at the state level. Now, we can play a role. As Attorney General, I think I can play a role, and other people can play roles. But ultimately, whether things changed or not has to happen really at the local level. First of all, there has to be a recognition that there's a problem. Tonight's meeting is great. It's got a lot of people from the community involved. The community understands that there is, in fact, a problem. There's a great panel tonight of experts who talk about, the nature of this problem. But what my experience has been is that the communities that have really started to make the progress have been communities that have gotten so fed up seeing their kids die and seeing other people die that they kind of rise up in a grassroots effort and say, we're going to do whatever we can to stop this. It has to involve the churches. It has to involve law enforcement. It has to involve educators. It has to involve the business community. Basically, everybody in the community has to come together. And I think a meeting like this goes a long way to getting that moving.
What about, we've seen dealers charged when there's an overdose death. Will we see more of that in the state, and what effect can that have in the long run?
I think you're going to see more county prosecuting attorneys who are going to try to charge a murder charge for someone who's knowingly sold the drugs, and that drug ended up killing someone. So prosecuting attorneys across the state are looking at that. We've even, in the Attorney General's office, done seminars for local law enforcement to how to deal with that particular scene, how you preserve the evidence from that so that convictions can be obtained in that regard. Now, we're not going to rest our way out of this problem, though. Law enforcement has its role, but we have to do different things, new innovative things. We have to put more emphasis on education. We have to put more emphasis on rehab and treatment. For example, in regard to education, there's only one thing that really works, and that is to do something that is age appropriate, kindergarten through 12th grade. It really doesn't do a lot of good to go in 5th grade and do something and then come back in 9th grade and do something. That's okay, but in this state, I think we're going to have to start doing something that's age appropriate for 13 straight years. Every expert who I've talked to says that's the way you begin to turn the tide and really prevent more people from becoming addicts.
What do you want people to take away from tonight?
I want people to take away from tonight that there is a crisis. If somebody from another country came in and was killing as many people as this epidemic is killing, we would all be up in arms. We need to be up in arms. We need to get mad. Not at the addicts, but we need to get mad about what is happening to our future and happening to our kids. And we need to funnel that passion into something very constructive, which is to work together in local units, local grassroots efforts to change the culture, to make it so that it's not okay to be taking heroin. Heroin was something that when I was a county prosecuting attorney in the 1970s, a long time ago, but heroin was something that very few people took. Even the people who were doing drugs, they did not take heroin. Now, there does not seem to be any kind of psychological bar stopping people from taking heroin. We got to change that.